Hi there. Hello. Good afternoon. It is Sunday afternoon when I am recording this video. I haven't made a video in what seems like a long time. It's only actually been a few days, I'm sure, but I just have been really working on managing with my energy, and I honestly have not had the capacity to be creating any new content. So apologies if you are one of the people that are on that list that I know that we are going to be getting together and collaborate or reaching out to have a discussion about doing so. Definitely on my list, but this is just put aside for now as I do what I do, which is managing and living well with a chronic condition. If we haven't met, my name is Sandra, and I have lived with an autoimmune condition called rheumatoid arthritis since the age of 8 years old. And one of the things that I am really experienced at is riding the wave of how it is ever changing and unpredictable with this condition. So, I'd been doing really well for quite some time. My joints were not bothering me. I would have my sort of baseline where if I would overextend with activity, I would have to scale it back. I would have to manage all of those things. But right now, and since mid-January, I've been experiencing a full-on arthritis flare. Not fun, and something that I haven't experienced in quite some time. So it's taking a little while to get used to it physically, mentally. And one of the biggest things, if you have an active inflammation for this and other conditions, I'm sure as well, you experience fatigue, which is very different from simply being tired. If you are tired from, a really busy week or from physical activity or, late nights, that is something that hopefully you will recover from with the adequate amount of rest. When you have fatigue that is related to something that is going on systemically in your body, that is something that you don't really get that reprieve. You don't get that feeling of being refreshed for very long at all before you can just be experiencing it's that sort of mental and physical fatigue. So a little bit of an adjustment for that, but that is part of, again, like I said, it's part of what I do. Living well with a chronic condition means that there are going to be times when you are going to have to manage that a little bit more and have tools in your toolbox to do so, and also have patience and grace and compassion for yourself. Have self-compassion, because it is not a time when you can just proceed with things as per normal. You just don't have the capacity to do that, and being able to have ways to acknowledge that and honor that and ease back and pulling all those tools that we have in our toolbox, being able to do that, I feel, can really be conducive to helping you get back to a more settled down state with your condition. That's the goal, right? I mean, we're hopefully we are being able to manage our things that we may have either by nutrition and lifestyle and all this sort of stuff, and as and when needed, sometimes with medication. But you never want to be in a constant, ongoing, prolonged state of, for the example of rheumatoid arthritis, for long periods of time, because that is not only wear and tear on your joints, but ongoing, unchecked inflammation is an extreme strain on your heart and your cardiac function. So that is something that I am really, really aware of. Is something that is one of the top 3 areas of my personal health and wellness advocacy, is making sure I am aware of protecting my heart function because of the history of where I have been on this journey thus far. So all of these things are sort of top of mind right now, and kind of working on how to address that. So I made myself a nice cup of tea. It's blueberry, and it's delicious. I can actually hold the cup now because I was able to get control of the flare up that I had in my hand by doing the natural things that I do with my oils and supplements, and with really amping up the self-care and eliminating any of the stressors that and things that I needed to do. Like, I wasn't using the computer for a few days. I wasn't able to do any handwriting. I had to be super, super careful. I had to get help to pour the tea kettle, just things like that. I had to really ease it back. And I was able to do that for my hands. But my knees are where, throughout my whole life, since I was 8 years old, my knees are the culprit. So when this flare has settled into my knee, it's having a harder time for me to get that under control just on my own. So I made an appointment to go and see my rheumatologist, and they were able to get me in right away. And so I was there this past Wednesday, and we were talking about just what we would want to do in order to help assist me with this current flare up. So of course, first there's the physical examination. To absolutely, she agrees there is definitely an active inflammation in the right knee. And then, as always, and it's so wonderful, I have such a great relationship with all of my healthcare providers. And going in there, we're able to have a conversation, a two-way conversation on what are the different options for treatment. And my doctor is so great. She even provided me, with a different list of all the different categories of so for treating this inflamed joint, starting with steroid injection, then to traditional medications, and then biologics. And I explained to her that I wanted to stay away from anything that was an injection or an infusion, or anything that was of that nature that would be taxing on my immune system and a lot of the body systems as well. Seeing as this, we were working on one joint in the body, albeit, as she mentioned, a large joint, the knee, and an early flare, catching it right in the early stages. I wanted to start a little lower on the end of medication. I didn't want to go into a lot of those. And as she noted, in the areas of the biologics, there's a lot of these that would not be recommended because it may have an increase in malignancy. So we definitely want to stay away from that. And I also, on the traditional side, we put an X through methotrexate because I do not want to go on that one again. It did not react with my body very well. It was a very, my body would receive it as very, very toxic, and it was a very, very big medication hangover. So weren't doing that. So what we decided to do is, first and foremost, I received a cortisone injection into the joint. And this is something that is done for arthritic joints. And the thing about it is, you have to do it very sparingly. It is not something that you should be relying on, because it can have a problem with deteriorating, actually, the quality of your joint. So you just have to be really careful. But I haven't had a cortisone shot for, I said 7 years in the office, but I think it is more, getting around more like 12 years since I've had a cortisone injection. So I think I'm pretty safe on not being over abusive with those. So that is where we started at first. And she also wrote me a prescription for 2 of the medications off of the traditional side of the list, and we talked about them, and they're ones that I have been on before. And again, they are not in the biologic category. So that is the plan. That was supposed to be the plan. Prescriptions were forwarded to drugstores, and unfortunately, there was a hiccup somewhere between the physician's office and the pharmacy, or somewhere in between, and those have not been yet available. So I will follow up on Monday to start that. I've done all my my research and my investigations that I do, making sure I'm fully aware of the medication choice, and these are ones that I have been on before. So hoping that that will help, and I can get that prescription filled on Monday and be on it hopefully shorter term than longer term, because as I talk about here, my preference is to manage my health and wellness with as few of the pharmaceutical medications as possible. So that is a bit of an update on that. I'm not sure if where I started in on this video, but it's basically just to say hello. I am still here. I am doing well, albeit a little bit tired, and I'm doing some self-care things. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to sip my tea, and I'm going to be back with the next video talking about medication choices and the term clinically extremely vulnerable. Bye, guys.